Ohow Street was just like any other street in New Zealand. In this street lived 4 dogs, 13 cats, 5 budgies, 3 mice, 12 goldfish, an oxalotl, and Big Adam, who lived right on the corner of Ohow Street and the main road, even had a pet possum called Monday. Oh yeah, there were quite a few humans as well. At one end of the street, the Stewarts had a swimming pool. Little Peter and Julia Kavanagh, the twins, they lived at the other end of the street. They had a trampoline in their backyard. The Gunter kids, Adrian, David and Myrtle, they had a tree house and a big old gum tree right on their front lawn, right next to the letterbox. Yep, Ohow Street was just like any other street in New Zealand, and on this street lived 3 of the best friends in the world: Tia, Carl and Michael. They did everything together. They went eeling in the stream that ran behind Ohow Street. They went exploring through the bush across the stream that ran behind Ohow Street. And in the summer, they would play in the hayfield beyond the bush that was across the stream that ran behind Ohow Street. And today, well, today was a very important day. Today, Tia's mum and dad had a brand new fridge delivered. So what was so exciting about a fridge, I hear you ask? Well, it was what the fridge was delivered in that caused all the excitement. It was the biggest cardboard box you ever saw. It stood 2.5 metres high and measured a massive 1.5 metres wide. It was huge. "Can I keep it, Mum? I'll put it away when I've finished playing with it. Oh, please, can I keep it, Mum, please?" pleaded Tia. Every day after school, Tia, Michael and Carl would play together in each other's backyards. This afternoon, it would be in Tia's backyard. Michael found out first. "I've got a surprise," Tia said to Michael on the telephone. "I'll be right round," said Michael. Then she rang Carl. "I've got a surprise," she told Carl. "I'm on my way," he said, and ran out the door. When they got to Tia's house, they couldn't wait. "What's the surprise?" they said together. Tia wasted no time. "It's in the backyard. Follow me." They rushed out the door and into the backyard, and there it was. "Is that it?" complained Carl. "It's an empty cardboard box," complained Michael. But Tia knew different. "It's not what it is, it's what it could be," said Tia mysteriously. She had a plan. She told her 2 friends of her plan, and they got started. Michael ran home and got a lot of paint, asking his mum and dad first, of course. Carl ran home and got some paintbrushes, asking his mum and dad first, of course, and they brought it all back to Tia's backyard. Tia's dad had put the big fridge box on its side and cut a big hole in the top so the 3 of them could stand up inside. Tia's dad had made 3 paddles made from some of the leftover cardboard. They painted and painted and painted. Carl had paint all over his hands. Tia was painting patterns all over the side of the box, and Michael was painting patterns all over the other side. It was brown and black with splashes of blue, and it was the most beautiful thing they had ever seen. After a solid hour of painting, they stood back and admired their handiwork. "It's the best waka I've seen in a while," said Tia. A waka is a Maori canoe carved out of big trees. Tia, Carl and Michael stood proud in their waka. They were ready for adventure. They were ready for whatever the 7 seas could throw at them. "Okay, where to now?" asked Michael. "Pirate Island," yelled Tia, and they were off. The seas started out quite calm. "Paddle, paddle as hard as you can," shouted Tia, and all 3 of them paddled and paddled as hard as they could, and they were off to Pirate Island. The going was kind of easy. The seagulls followed them along for a wee while, but when the seagulls stopped following them, they knew they were a long way from shore. It was then that things started getting a little scary. "Land ahoy!" shouted Carl. He was at the front of their waka and spotted land way off in the distance. "That's not land," shouted Tia. She didn't like the look of this. "It's coming too fast." She was right. Headed straight for them was a great big blue whale. But what they didn't know is that it was a friendly whale. Her name was Willamina. Willamina the whale, just like the whales Michael's cousin had seen once when they were whale watching in Kaikoura. Willamina the whale was a very sad whale. She'd lost her family and couldn't find them anywhere. And as strange as it seems, she was afraid of being alone. Even the biggest animals in the world can get a little afraid sometimes. It's perfectly normal to be afraid every now and then. And right now, Michael, Tia and Carl were very afraid. Because even though Willamina the whale was a friendly whale, they didn't know that and they were scared. "Paddle left!" shouted Tia. "Paddle right!" shouted Carl. "I want to go home!" shouted Michael. As the whale got closer and closer, the waves got bigger and bigger until their waka was swishing and swashing backwards and forwards, up and down, swishing and swashing backwards and forwards, up and down. "I don't feel so good." Michael was looking a little green. As the whale came up alongside their waka, Tia, Carl and Michael all screamed, "Ah!" All was quiet. The only thing to be heard was the water lapping gently against the side of their boat. Tia, Carl and Michael were all crouched down, hiding from the giant blue whale. "Hello," said Willamina the whale. "Yoo-hoo! Is anybody home?" Willamina the whale inquired. Tia quietly and carefully looked over the edge of their waka, and there, right in front of her, was an eye the size of a watermelon. It blinked. "Ah!" screamed Tia, and she dived straight back down. "Hello, peekaboo, tickety-boo!" Willamina the whale was trying to sound as friendly as she could. "What is it?" asked Carl. "I don't know, it's got a huge eye," whispered Tia. "Hello!" sang Willamina the whale. "I'm not that scary, honest," said the whale. "How do we know you won't swallow us whole?" shouted Michael. "Ew!" said Willamina in disgust. "I eat fish, not little boys and girls." Tia, Carl and Michael all stood together. "Kia ora, talofa, g'day," said Michael, Carl and Tia. "Hello," said the great big blue whale. "Who are you?" asked Carl. "I'm Willamina the whale," said Willamina the whale. "You from round here?" asked Carl. "I'm from round here, but I've lost my pod." Willamina the whale didn't sound very happy. "You've lost your pod?" said Carl, Michael and Tia. "What's a pod?" "You don't know what a pod is? How can you not know what a pod is?" "A pod is a lot of whales, you see. Like a pod is a pod of peas. Like a flock of sheep, a herd of cows, like a murder of crows. Like a school of fish, oh, I really do miss my dear old pod. Oh, I want a hug and kiss, oh, I really do miss my dear old pod." And with that, Tia gave Willamina the whale a big hug and a kiss. "Oh, thank you. I haven't had a hug in such a long time," said the sad blue whale. "We're on our way to Pirate Island. You're more than welcome to join us on our adventure," said Tia. "I'd love to. Maybe you could help me find my pod." "There's only one problem," said Michael. "What's that?" asked Willamina. "We don't know how to get to Pirate Island," said Carl. Willamina stretched the biggest, widest grin across her face and laughed. "Not a problem. I was there just yesterday looking for my family. I'll take you." And with that, our fearless adventurers, Tia, Carl and Michael, tied a rope to Willamina's tail and they were off. "Michael, your mother just rang. It's time to go home for tea now." It was Tia's mum. Carl had to go home. "See you later, guys," shouted Carl as he climbed out of the fridge box and ran home. "Suppose I better go home too," said Michael. He climbed out of their waka and ran home. "See you tomorrow," Tia shouted after him, and he was gone. Was that a real whale? Was that a real waka? Were they really sailing across the sea? Will Willamina the whale really find her pod? Will they really get to Pirate Island? Who really knows? Find out next time. Until then, ka kite anō.